so much great information for you today. So this webinar is empowering your voice, how to share your story in a way that truly matters. Just some housekeeping. If you have any questions during the presentation, type them into the Q&A box and we will answer them at the end of the presentation during the Q&A. Ashley also might be responding in that Q&A box too as we're going through the webinar. All right, so is your brand and website resonating with your ideal client? Like, is it connecting with that ideal client? Is your brand and website communicating your brand voice? Like, is it communicating your personality, your brand voice? Is your brand and website communicating your culture? Yeah, absolutely. It can, it should be. We want to set you apart. Is your brand and your website communicating your mission? What are you passionate about? What do you care about? Like, is it communicating that value, like your mission, how you're helping people, your passion, and, you know, is it communicating that? Uncover how to make your brand's visuals and copywriting unique versus generic, right? So I want the brand and your website to have a look and feel that connects with your ideal clients, and the copywriting, like telling that story, the text on the page, communicating your value, what's unique about you. That is super important. So if this is the first time connecting with us, I'm Deborah Scarpa and we have Ashley Blazing here. We're both from Home Designer Marketing. We help interior designers and others in the industry transform their brands to get found online, win their dream clients, and work smarter with streamlining their processes. Our services include brand strategy. Yep, doing a deep dive into like how to tell your story, how to set you apart. Copywriting, website templates. I'm super excited. We are now offering website templates. And we're also offering, like we always have, custom websites. The exciting part about our new templates is they're about half the investment of a custom website. They still include copywriting, SEO. They are fantastic. Both are great options, but just letting you know if you'd love to work with us and the custom websites are out of range, come talk to us about our new templates. SEO, social media, online ads, email marketing, and much more. All right. We are super passionate about helping you guys, especially now. I know some of you are struggling. I want you to really think about like not sitting around and waiting for things to happen. Like if you're struggling, you don't have work, get out there in the community, pound the pavement, make calls, connect with others in your industry, vendors, real estate people. Like, don't sit around and wait. We really are passionate about keeping you in business. Or if you're doing marketing and you can't do that, step that up. This is the time to step it up. Think of it as like how COVID was. You really need to step it up to thrive when things get a little hard. Um, we're happy to offer you our free brand website SEO audit. If you haven't taken advantage of that, please do. Happy to help, tell you what's working, what's not working. You can go to homedesignermarketing.com/audit, or you can scan this QR code right here. We'd love to help you out. Today's learning objectives, we're going to really do a deep dive. Discover how effective storytelling can enhance your brand's identity and create a strong emotional connection. I want them to feel that you're the right fit, right? With your audience. Learn techniques to align your brand message with your target market, enabling you to stand out from competitors and win dream clients. Leverage the art of storytelling and marketing to captivate and engage your audience. Understand how to craft compelling narratives that inspire emotions, ignite actions, and drive results. I want to tell you a really quick story. Like, Natalie is our copywriter on our team. She writes all the copy. Like she was writing the about page for one of our clients that was doing a website. And when she was meeting with them, reading it over to them for the first time, like they got tears in their eyes. They got super emotional because they said they have never experienced like the copy like connecting with who they really are at their core like so well. They were so emotional about that experience. That's how I want your clients to really have that emotional, like, I want that. That is perfect. That is the right fit. Ignite action and drive results. Learn how to write compelling headlines, engaging body copy, and irresistible call to actions that tell your story and resonate with your target audience and your ideal client. Incorporating your brand's voice, culture, mission into your brand story will create a deeper emotional connection with your ideal client and set you apart from your competition. So, like your website shouldn't look and feel and read the same as everybody else. It should be yours. It should be telling your story. It should be communicating that. So let me give you an example. This is William's like website homepage. This was the before. This is the after. Do you see how like this, there's no copy, there's no messaging, like it's just so short, small. Actually, Google is not going to rank a website like this because there's no content. Google can't read the image. There's no text, no keywords, nothing. And your ideal clients are not mind readers. They're not going to understand the value that is delivered. Where, look at this one, like there's so much value. It's communicating visually and in words all the value that he offers, right? His, like, where he's located and the services he offers and the awards that he has won, and building trust with information about himself. Like, it has so much value. So write in chat, how well do you feel your website is connecting with your ideal client? Like, rate it from 1 to 10. How well is it connecting with your ideal client? If you feel like, this is a good way to test it out, like if you feel like when you're communicating, like when you're working on a project with a client and you're delivering all this stuff, right? And your client's like, wow, I didn't know that you did all this, right? And then you look at your website and it doesn't have any of that information. That's when you have a disconnect. Websites that align their brand with their ideal client are able to connect emotionally. So websites that align their brand, right, get that emotional connection with their ideal client, are going to do the best. They're going to get those projects. So connect emotionally with your ideal client. So, like Ashley can talk about this client for a moment.
Yeah, this is a New York City interior designer, right? So bold, modern, edgy, right? All of those things. And the way that she is going to connect with her ideal client is going to be much different than, somebody who's like a coastal designer, right? It's so, so much different. So you can see over on the left side that homepage. Where it's got that really bold image with the dark blue and the really bright chair, right? That's going to attract her ideal client. Again, we're somebody who's maybe the opposite, right? Which obviously there's nothing wrong with being the opposite, but that may not be attractive to somebody in a totally different area with a different style, right? Somebody in her area is going to want to capture distinction and ignite curiosity in their spaces, right? That's going to get them inspired to work with her. So that's really going to get them connected before they ever even speak with her, which is the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Holly here.
Yeah, so much different look as you can see, right? She's not necessarily on the coast, right? She's in North Texas, but it's a much, much different look and feel, right? It fits her ideal client, it fits the area, it fits the type of homes, right? So the home that we were looking at, or the homes, I should say, in general, and for the other client above, they're not ones that have these enormous kitchens, right? Things like that. It's more like kind of loft apartments overlooking the city, right? So it's a much, much different feel. Again, different client, where Holly here has the different look. We've got the soft scripts, the soft blue. It's not necessarily that it feels more inviting, but it's more inviting to her ideal client, right? Where somebody who loves her work may not be as attracted to the client a moment ago, and vice versa. They may be like, that's not for me, right? But that's exactly what we want.
Yeah, so different and perfect for their ideal client.
Yes.
So, storytelling principles, that's what we're going to go over today to align your brand with your ideal client. So, we're going to go through 4 different sections. 1, brand voice. 2, your culture. 3, your mission. 4, your story. For each one, we're going to go over like not only what it is, but how do you create that and how do you add that to your website and your brand and your marketing? So, your brand voice. So, Ashley, why don't you jump in here?
Yeah. So it's important to look at this and take a screenshot of this, or grab a piece of paper really quick and write down the ones that you identify the most with, right? So if you are more playful and soft, you're probably not going to choose edgy from this list, right? If you're more direct and sharp, you're probably not going to choose something like, I'm looking around, maybe the passionate one or whatever it may be, right? So really look at this and not only think about what is important to you here and what you identify with, but also what your ideal client is going to identify with, right? And if there's a bit of tension there, maybe think about who your ideal client is, and do you have the ideal client, the right picture of that person, right? So they really need to match. Super important.
Yeah, and I know Natalie, who does the copywriting on our team, she really says when we have a client and they go through our strategy process, like she really likes to just get a feel for their personality and like what they're like and really feel that.
Yep, that's like what's most important, honestly, from our online meetings and learning, is just seeing how people speak and how they interact and their body language and all of these things. Again, that's what we want to bring through in the copy, right? So are you a more playful person with you like to speak with humor, right? Or are you more direct? There's no right or wrong. It's just what is you, and how are we going to communicate in that in the copy so that somebody that is your ideal client goes, oh, this is the perfect person for me.
Yeah, and I'll take that even farther. Like we have one client that we'll show you like later on, but when she went through strategy, we found out that all her clients, her ideal clients were male, like in Las Vegas, like high-end projects. Like, so that brand voice needs to communicate that, like they need to identify with that.
Yep, needs to be more direct to the point.
Convey your personality and business identity through your brand's tone, voice, and unique story. So be consistent, but not stagnant. If you're edgy, don't come across as soft. If you're witty, share humor. Find your voice and lean into it.
Yep, make it really, really clear, kind of what we were talking about. Lean into it. If you like to be lighthearted, obviously your projects are serious, right? But how you are communicating with people, bring that through in the website. Maybe there's some fun little nuance that you can have on there visually, right? Or some play with the headlines, something like that. Bring that in. Show your personality. It's a very personal service what you guys do. You're going into people's homes and changing their lives, frankly. So we want to make sure that you connect with them before you even speak with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want you to also think about like the size of the project that you're selling and, making sure that your whole brand, if you're selling like really high end um, services, then you need to communicate that a little bit differently. If you're selling much smaller projects, it's a different voice, a different feel. So ensure your brand voice resonates with your ideal client through both visuals and copywriting so they instantly feel at home, right? And I will say that the companies, the businesses, and the people that are doing this are definitely like I showed you William's like website earlier. We ran into him at KBiz, and he said like his clients are better, his projects are better. Like he has a list of people who want to work with him. Like ever since the website went live, like he's getting much better. Like he's like just everything so much better.
Yeah, and that comes down to, again, the clarity on who he wants to work with, right? Where the site before, it was, okay, he's an interior designer in San Francisco. Great, right? But his goal is to do more larger projects, right? So we wanted to be clear about that on the website and the type of person that you're talking to and the language and the type of projects and all of that. Some other clients of ours, they are wanting to do a kitchen at a time or a bathroom at a time, right? So you have to make sure to convey that too. People, like Deborah said earlier, they're not going to be able to assume. You have to tell them.
Yeah, they're not mind readers. You
Yes.
have to communicate. And, I've had over the years so many people say, oh, well, when I get to talk to them, then I'll be able to communicate. No, like you just might not have that opportunity. Like because people are shopping online and purchasing, you know, at least validating companies online and getting to know them before they even have a conversation with you. So, which words best describe this business? And this is the one that came to us with the flower logo and kind of like, her brand was completely off from when she went through strategy, we found out all her clients were male and she was in Las Vegas doing these really large projects. So the brand had to totally shift.
Yep, exactly. And it was much more feminine, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. It just is it does it resonate correctly or not? And in her case, it did not. We went through strategy and talked through her target market, and we were like, "Whoa, stop! Let's relook at this here and do a different approach for the logo design." And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because our, thought was that we were just going to clean up her existing logo, which was a flower, make it look, more up to date. And then after she went through strategy with our team, Ashley sends me this message, hey, that flower logo isn't going to work. All her clients are male. And we're like, yeah, that's why we don't do the logo before we bring people through strategy.
So make
So
Sure. Really quick too, just to reiterate kind of what we just went through, those words, right? Do those words that you're choosing from that big bulleted list, do those match up with your branding, right?
Mm,
Really think about that.
yeah, yeah. Here is Linda's website, and see how it has a totally different feel.
Mhm.
Totally different. Her clients are like women. It's just so much
Yeah,
different.
she uses lots of soft colors, as you can see in her work, lots of round edges where maybe a more edgy designer tends to use more, modern looks, hard edges, corners, shapes, right? Things like that, different shapes, I should say. But we've really brought into her branding, you could see those really soft curves, and that's brought in from her logo, right? Where we wouldn't have
Mhm.
done that on the website before. Her logo was square edge, right? Much more, it's got the darker colors, much different look and feel. At the end of the day, right, they still are designing beautiful homes. It's just for a different type of person in a different market.
Yes. Write in chat which words best describe you and your business. Now let's discuss your culture. Build a cultural connection with your ideal client. What do you have in common with your ideal clients? Hobbies, do you both play golf, fly planes? We actually have a client who flies planes. She's a pilot, and like she connects with other women pilots. Um, Love to entertain, life stage. Do you both have like children? Are you both women? Beliefs and values. Are you both environmental? Like we have worked with clients who are really strong in all these areas.
Right. And really making sure that you're communicating that, because wouldn't it be awesome to work with people who love the same things that you
Mhm.
do?
Yeah, absolutely. We even have other clients who, like one who travels all over the world, viewing and purchasing art, right? So she really wants like people that love and appreciate art, and then she buys like art from all over the world for them. Culture storytelling, content ideas. So connect with your ideal client by leveraging culture. So hobbies, cooking, like, we know some kitchen designers that love to cook, and, they get a lot of work and connect with their ideal clients because, you know, they understand them. They both have that in common. Entertaining, art, I talked about that, music, outdoor activities, values, you know, transparency, problem solver, beliefs and passions, environmental. We have one client that's very environmental. Aging in place. We have other clients that, focus on that. The way you work, design principles, inspiration like nature, artwork, architecture, food. There's just so many different, and this is just a very small list.
Let me give a few examples so people can kind of put this to work here and really see how you can use this. So think about, let's use the first example on the left side over of cooking, right? You love cooking. We're going to say you love cooking in this example here, and you want to connect with others who do, and want to help them create a new kitchen space that is going to fulfill their home cook ideas and whatever, right? Why don't you share some fun things that you're cooking at home for personal content on social media, right? Show them that you can relate to them that way. If you're sending out a newsletter, add a little fun little recipe at the bottom, right? Like show them through these other ways that you can connect with them emotionally, right? And really relate to them. You can do that with any of the things here, right? Sharing content on aging in place if you're certified in that, or if you go on a trip to wherever and there's some awesome architecture there, like share it on social media and talk about it, right? If you geek out over it, your ideal client's going to geek out over it too, and you can geek out together, right? Do a blog post on all the different architecture that you found and how those things are being infused in today's design, right? So you can really take one of these bullets here and spread it out into all these different
Yeah.
types of content, whether big or small, and that's how you connect.
Communicating your culture. So, Ashley.
Yes, this is the example that Deborah was talking about. Rini here is huge on everything sustainable design and bringing in
Mhm.
nature, as you can see here. So again, that is brought in everywhere throughout her site and even in her branding, right? It's got that kind of flower feel to it. So it brings in that feel from the start. But we also have little soft edges throughout the site. So it's got the feel from nature as well.
Mhm.
It's not hard
Mhm.
edge. Yes, right where she's pointing there. And it really, throughout the content, tells us that she is looking to work with people who care about the same thing that she does here, and that
Yeah.
she's, you know, really good at what she does. She's an expert in it.
Yeah.
Same thing with Will here. We're going to bring him back up. Again, interior architecture and interior design are his biggies here. We can also see his style is very apparent, right? And it's very, very apparent to those who work in his area that, or who live in his area, sorry, that he's the best designer for them, right? If they come here and they want a home that's going to tell their story, he is the designer, right? He's the one that they want to work with.
Mhm. Absolutely. And I want you to also think about you're also communicating who you are and your values, like selecting those key words can also help get you found. So, when the copy is written and the website is programmed, I want you to think about making sure that you go through strategy first, figure out who your ideal client is, like what you're selling, those keywords, and then program, like add that to the copy, add that to the messaging, add that to the headlines, to the programming of the website to communicate not just to your ideal client, but you're communicating to Google. So when somebody is searching with those keywords, you're going to come up. Keywords are not just a few main keywords. There are so many, like, you know, keywords that are smaller keywords, right? That are more specific. They might not be getting as much traffic, but they're going to attract your ideal client. So write in chat, what do you have in common with your ideal clients? Your mission. So create a connection with your ideal client by communicating your mission. So, what are you passionate about and why are you in business? Are you passionate about, doing specific type of projects? Are you exceptional, working with specific type of people? Are you committed to supporting a particular like cause? Is your team composed exclusively of women and you love working with women? I mean, what are you really passionate about and how can you connect with people? So, some mission storytelling content ideas like client-centered stories. Tell the tale of a client whose personality is reflected in the design you created for them. Functional enhancements. Discuss areas you've designed that have uplifted your clients' like lifestyle. Like we've had some clients that are exceptional at space planning or exceptional at like really making a functional kitchen, and communicating that on your website, in your brand, in the copy, in your SEO keywords is going to really help bring in those ideal clients. So, artistic retreats, explore how spaces you've designed contribute to tranquility and happiness. Um, do they want the feeling that they're like at a resort when they're home? They have really busy lives and they just want to feel really relaxed and happy when they get home. Entertainment areas describe entertainment spaces that combine a modern style with comfort. What I always think of it as, what is your superpower? What are you passionate about? How are you going to connect?
Yep, and I was just gonna say basically the same thing. Remember to tie this back to your mission, right? So if your mission isn't really centered about art, right, don't go down that path. Go down one of the others. But really with like if you're creating the functional kitchen like Deborah was talking about, really, really show that off, right? Because sure, you can show that it's a beautiful new kitchen, but you're not going into the details of the functional part of it that your ideal client would care about, right? Of course, they
Mhm.
care like, "Ooh, this is really pretty, da da da. Okay, scroll by," right? Like, talk about really those enhancements that you made that made a difference in that client's life. And so somebody goes, "Oh, I can't go another day without those enhancements in my life."
Yeah. And how we do it, just to give you kind of some back end kind of transparency, is when they go through strategy, it's a 2 hour meeting with our team. We have multiple people, in that meeting. And we have like the designer talking about, you know, what what they offer, their services and what they do and what they love doing and everything. It always happens where our team is like, oh my gosh, like nobody else is doing this. Like we need to like highlight this area in order to communicate, to their ideal client that they're the right fit. And a lot of times that's why it's important to work with somebody that actually knows, has worked with other companies like you, because they'll be able to identify like what other people are doing versus what you're doing. Because sometimes it's hard when you're working, in your business, like to know that other people aren't doing this, or they think, oh, it's no big deal that I offer this, but they don't realize it really is a big deal that they're offering that. Um, but they don't realize it because they don't really know that other people are not. So, Ashley.
Yeah, so just kind of honing in here on Reenie's bio, and again, just talking about, you can read it here. You can We can see the screenshot a little bit bigger, but we're talking about the nature inspired interior design, holistic approach, joyful sanctuaries, right? Warmth, harmony, and energy. These are all words that somebody who is inspired by nature, as you can see up at the top, will connect with, right? So somebody reading that versus somebody who that's not their passion and their mission, they wouldn't identify as much with them, right? Which again, that's exactly what we're after.
Yeah, and think about those words that we went over, like at the very beginning: beautiful, functional, healthy, like, well being, all those words, right? Energy, harmony are the ones that we're using in the copy.
Another one here, this is Niche out of Prescott, Arizona. And this website, actually, when you come here, because this is a screenshot, but when you come here, this is actually a video, drone video, kind of coming in and zooming in on this beautiful home here. And you really get the gut feeling that, wow, she does incredible homes, right? And whole homes at this, stage here. So if it were, and it gives that gut feeling like, okay, we're talking the big picture here in terms of this home, and we're talking a custom home, and really every single little detail throughout the whole home is done by Christine here at Niche, right? And you get that gut feeling, and that's what she wants to do. She doesn't want to do the room by room. She wants this, right? So we're communicating that.
And you probably only have like 3 to 10 seconds when they come to your website on the homepage here, this first part of the homepage, before they scroll down or, go to another page or click the tab to close the website. 3 to 10 seconds. super fast. It needs to communicate visually and in writing, in text, like what you're offering to your ideal client so fast before you miss that opportunity.
And we really get that too from the wording, as you were saying. We get elevated, comfortable living, right? That tells me that I'm going to get a high-end home, but it's still going to feel like a home, right?
Mhm.
Another designer here, this is Yancy Kitchen and Bath Design. That is super clear in the name what she does, right? She doesn't want to do living rooms and furnishings, right? So we did actually talk with her, and she did change her name from Yancy Interior Design to Kitchen and Bath Design when we were working with her because of that clarity, right? Again, coming in and we're saying your space is going to be transformed and your life is going to be enhanced. Boom, right off the bat, right? That additional line of clarity underneath that, we're talking tailored functional kitchen and bath design in her county area, right? Here's where it is, here's what we do, and here's why we're really good at it, right? It's super, super clear and easy for someone to go, okay, she's the person for me, or she isn't, right?
Write in chat, what is your mission? And does it connect with your ideal client? So, and if you can't write out the whole mission, just write, if it does or if it doesn't. Your story and copywriting. So, website SEO, copywriting reminders, just these things are super important. So, I just wanted to share with you some reminders. Never copy someone else's website copy. It will hurt your and their SEO ranking. So, like that includes a blog post, any of it. Never copy somebody else. It will, Google hates duplicate content and will rank your website really low and theirs. Be careful of content that is not original when using AI software. It can lower your SEO rankings. So I want you to think about, like, if you're using an AI software tool, and you're writing, even if it's bullet points and you're writing 80% of it, you're asking the AI software to maybe clean it up, add the other 10, 20%, that's fine. You're going to be fine. If you're writing 10, 20% and expecting the AI software to write the rest, that is not going to be considered original content, right? That's going to hurt your SEO rankings, typically, so just be careful and, don't purchase, or like there's some services that are selling blog posts to like multiple companies. Like, you don't want to do that unless you're really rewriting a large percentage of it. Make it original. That's what Google wants. Never purchase copy that is being used for other companies on their websites. If you're doing social media like copy or like email copy, it's not, you can use the AI software. It's not going to, really hurt you, but website copy, it absolutely is important that it is original. To increase your SEO rankings, add new original content that your ideal client will resonate with, to your website monthly. These days, it's so competitive. You can't just launch a website and expect to be on page one of Google. That's not how it works. You have to have like a good website that's going to attract, that's going to identify with your ideal client, and then do monthly content. Like, it could even be adding photos to your website, optimizing it with those keywords.
Exactly. And I'll jump in really quick there on the Google thing, Deborah, just to give another example. Remember that Google's job is to provide the best result for their searchers, right? That's their customer. And if they don't do that, then people go elsewhere, right? Google is still the number one search engine for that very reason. And so they're not going to provide content or search listing results that is the same thing that somebody else has. That decreases the value, right? It's not unique and valuable to the user, to the reader. So they're not going to rank it. So really, really think about that when writing your content. Just in general, and using AI. AI is great to use and get you to a certain point, but always, always have the human touch. Humans want humans, which means Google wants humans, right? Google
Yeah.
wants what the humans want.
So your story and copywriting, framework, headline, body copy, call to action. I am going to be going, I know we're almost our time's up, so I'm going to be going through this. Brand strategy framework. Okay. So when we're creating copy and writing it, it needs to go in a certain order. Your ideal client, understand who your ideal client is, their problem, highlight the challenges they're experiencing, your solution, propose a solution tailored to their problem, your process, to build, outline the process like you follow. Why you build trust in your brand and website. Call to action. Encourage your ideal client to take the next step. End result, paint a picture of a successful outcome, right? So when we're writing copy, even on a website homepage, we're following this framework. If you just get to your website and it just has about you, about your business, and nothing about your services or everything listed above, like your ideal client isn't going to understand, like you're going to lose that ideal client. So write compelling headlines. A compelling headline will grab your ideal client's attention and communicate to Google what you're selling. So again, this is following the framework. What problem is your ideal client facing? What type of solution are they looking for? What type of end result are they hoping to achieve? What type of emotional response do you want your ideal client to have? What locations are you servicing? I can't tell you how many websites I go to and I have no idea like what area they're selling to. Some example headlines. You want to go through this, Ashley?
Sure. So we've got some good and some bad, right? So you can see an actual example of way or a few that may or may not connect with people, right? So on the left side, again, that transform your kitchen where culinary dreams become reality. That's the person who loves cooking and wants their dream kitchen so they can spend all their days in there, right? That's who you want to talk to with that type of headline, right? Over on the right side, kitchen design services from, and then your company name. Like, okay,
Yeah,
doesn't really fulfill my dreams.
yeah,
This one here, the William Adams, the headline here, we can see tailored excellence, luxury forever homes. Again, San Francisco Bay Area interior architecture and design, right? If you didn't see that there, you go, wonder where he works. I don't feel like searching for it, so I'm going to go somewhere else, right? But also here you see and get that gut feeling that he is doing the whole home and really taking everything into account for you there.
yeah. Write in chat, how compelling are your website's headlines? And do they include those like keywords or those descriptive words? So rate from 1 to 10. Write engaging body text. So start by acknowledging the challenges they're facing. And then next, offer a solution that's just right for their needs. And then finally, demonstrate a successful outcome and prove why you're the top choice. Again, it's following that framework. And if are somebody who really struggles with writing, then absolutely find somebody that you can team up with that can help you because this is really important. And the writing, is so important with the keywords for your SEO too. here's an example of one of our clients, a body copy.
Yep, body copy here. So again, that goes into, talks about comprehensive design services and that whole list there. Again, the comprehensive gives you the, okay, he's got me, right?
Mhm.
Rather than the bits and pieces. Again, the bits and pieces, there's nothing wrong there at all, but you want to be clear in that. Talks about transparency, collaboration, the heart of the approach, long-term client relationships, right? All of these things are important to his ideal client.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many times I see websites and I meet with people, like they scheduled an audit and they might just have like, you know, kitchen remodels and that's it, and they're trying to get those really large projects. And think about it, like, would you buy something and and spend a lot and have a big investment on something where like you didn't even know what you were getting? I mean, that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and think of somebody, if somebody's looking to do a whole home remodel. They're going between two designers. This one says kitchen and bath design. This one says whole home design, but this one does whole home design. They're just not saying it, right? On their website. They're going to go talk to the person who is saying that they do it.
Mm-hmm.
Made the decision easy.
Yeah. So write in chat, how engaging is your website's body text? 1 to 10. And writing irresistible call to actions. What's the best call to action for your content? So, um, you have to let people know like what they should do. And having like an online calendar is like exceptional. Some direct content, offer a free discovery call, have an online calendar, fill out a contact form, provide your phone number. For nurture-based content, like, you know, offer a free download or quiz, encourage responses or comments, invite to join your email list. You really have to think about, is the person like, is the person ready to buy right now, or are they just doing research for later? And they're both super important. You need to make sure you have call to actions for both.
Okay, example of call to action here. So I was responding to a comment in chat, but this one is discovery call, right? So that is most designers' first step, is that discovery call. It could be initial consultation, whatever it is, right? But make it really easy and obvious what that first step is, and easy to actually do that step, right? So in this case, there's a calendar on Will's website, and it's like, okay, I'm coming here, I'm able to get right on his calendar. This is setting a really good expectation and like gut feeling from the start that he's going to be really organized throughout our project.
Yes, yes. And there's a lot of studies that say if you're the first person to have a conversation with somebody, like the chance of you getting that project is much, much higher. So if it's hard to schedule a time to just have a short call, they might end up having that call with somebody else and you've lost that opportunity just with that missing that one step. So write in chat, do you have an online calendar on your website? I am a huge fan. You think if your clients are looking on the weekends or in the evenings, you're not available. And plus, like, you probably don't want to get interrupted with like a random call. You probably rather have that a scheduled call.
Yeah, and there's a huge benefit to one having on the calendar, like Deborah was saying, but we actually have quite a few clients who have somebody that do the discovery call for them. So consider that too. Is there somebody on your team that you can train to do those? So not only are they coming in, right, and people are just getting on the calendar, but that is actually even off your plate too, right?
Mm.
It kind of does multiple things for you there.
Yeah, and some storytelling content ideas, obsessed with details. So, close up shots of current projects and their backstories, or breaking down of your creative process, or sharing your inspiration, um, getting excited about the big picture, photos of completed projects, before and after photos, highlights from demo days, um, share your journey. There's so many clients' testimonials. There's so many different, ideas of how to um, connect with your ideal client. Things to remember: do your research, be consistent, test and refine, right? Again, thank you so much for everyone for attending. I hope that you've gotten a lot of value out of today. I'm Deborah Scarpa. Ashley Blazing is here, and we're from Home Designer Marketing. Um, we Again, we'd love to help you out. If you haven't taken advantage of our free audit, you can either go to the website here or scan it here. And we do have, the new website templates if you feel like you can't do a fully custom template. Um, Definitely make sure that your website communicates your value and has that emotional response from your ideal client before you start driving traffic to it. It's absolutely the first step, and you don't want to waste a lot of time and money and driving traffic to a website that's not converting your ideal client. That needs to be done first: the website, the branding, the copywriting, the SEO keywords, and then driving traffic. So now I'll leave this up and we can get to some Q&As. And thank you so much, everyone, for participating. I know Ashley's also been
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we
answering.
answered everything. Definitely, if there's anybody has lingering questions, please populate those. But I did put a link to that audit that Deborah was just talking about in the chat. And then I will also paste the link to our July webinar in there too, if you'd like to join us in a little over a month from now. We're going to be talking about specifically automation in that webinar, and we'd love to see you there. Manuel, there's a question on fees, so go ahead and book that audit with Deborah and that the first link that I posted. And what you'll do is talk through what she just talked about, and then you guys can talk about the fees for working with us.
Yeah. Yep. It just depends on, I do a full audit, see where you're at, see what you need, see what
Right.
your goals are, and then, you know, discuss what would be the best fit. And then we can give you an idea of what the investment for that is.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today and staying to the end. We are doing everything we can to help you out, and definitely, really think about getting your website, your brand to have that emotional response, and then work on driving that traffic monthly. It's super important that you step on the gas, because I'd hate, when things are hard, you need to step on the gas to get things moving.
Yep.
Okay?
I
And
agree.
always work on your Google reviews.
Yes, always, always.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone.